let's go to the protest block here, and let's talk a little bit about that. There were a couple of moments. Ryan, I'm going to rely on you to explain some of this. First, let's watch the video here. These are two delegates who we met briefly. Was it the two of them? Were there more?
More than two.
Okay,
actually,
so there were a couple of delegates that were in the hall in Chicago who actually unfurled a banner saying, quote, "Stop arming Israel." But the interesting thing was not just their protest, was their reaction inside the hall to their protest. People were very upset and they did their best. Mac, go ahead and cue up that video, E1. Let's take a listen.
Impossibility. Fair impossibility. We're in the grip of a once-in-a-century pandemic. Historic joblessness. Calls for racial justice long overdue. Clear. Present connection of our very democracy.
Okay, tell us about what we just
Yeah,
saw.
and there are other videos where
Okay, we're gonna show yours.
yeah, where you can see the guy kind of like swinging.
Why don't we play that right now?
You want to play?
Yeah.
You want to play Ryan's
It's,
video?
it's not my video. I think
Oh.
that's
This is E3.
E3.
there's another one where like he's like, and it's so perfect and poetic because it says "We love Biden."
Yeah.
To beat somebody with a pole that says "love" there's just something.
We have a time. We have Ryan's video, right? Mac, you want to go and cue that up?
and we
show
can
us-
just
yeah,
we'll just talk
over
we'll
this.
just
Yeah,
talk
go.
over it.
All right, so tell us what we're seeing. You're
yeah.
the one who filmed this.
Yeah, so I was right by the Florida delegation, which is where this is happening, and you've got the guy that you saw in the picture, who's the protester. It's a delegate from Michigan named Liano Sharon, Jewish delegate, and then a Muslim delegate from Florida named Nadia Ahmad, and then there was another delegate from Connecticut named Issam Boré, who helped as well. He had told me that on Sunday he was trying to get into a DNC reception and they found like a Palestinian flag in his bag, and security swarmed him and like made him leave the floor.
Is there a no flag rule to
I-
bring in the?
I don't.
Oh,
I was
did you
curious
tell me
about
that they're confiscating Palestinian.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
They booted him out with the flag.
Yeah.
Little did they know he actually was planning the next day.
Yeah.
So it was a little racial profiling, and they got lucky. So Nadia Ahmad smuggled this entire banner, which Lauren Steiner, another Jewish activist from North Carolina, helped.
Is that the
helped
delegate
paint.
that we met?
I don't think
Oh, that
you
was different.
met her.
Anyway, go ahead.
She's in. You can. I wrote about this for Drop Site. You guys can check that story out. So basically, what's going on here is, initially you saw that kind of miniature violent response where they try to rip it out of their hands and then they're swinging the little cardboard things at them. But the crowd, I'd say to their credit, ish, because I think it's also absurd, said no, stop, de-escalate, don't get violent. But then they just completely obscured.
Yeah.
They're like, everybody signs up. I think their smarter move might have been to just ignore it, actually,
Interesting.
because the cameras just stayed on Biden the entire time.
Right.
So then,
Yeah, look at this guy who
So-
keeps throwing his sign in front of your
This guy-
in front of your phone.
this guy, he's the former executive director of the Florida Democratic Party.
Oh,
I
yeah.
learned-
Did you
I
call
learned
this guy
later.
out? I mean, you're a journalist. We are credentialed media on the floor of the DNC.
I was telling the dude that. I'm like, what are you doing? And towards the end, I'm like, look, there's like 8 other cameras here. You're gonna block all
Yeah,
of them?
it's
And
like,
he's like, yes, I will.
Yeah. Like, what is happening?
Yes, we can.
So I just was constantly moving around. Occasionally, I'd be able to find somebody who could pick him,
Uh-huh.
and then I'd have like a shot.
I'll be with you next time, dude.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, I needed a
Saagar's
pick,
gonna
literally just
body
like-
people.
little pick and roll.
Yeah.
Or a little Reggie White swim at times.
Yeah.
So it was surreal. And so while I say impressive, I mean in the sense that the guy had a lot of energy. Like he followed me for like 10 minutes around there. But also absurd. Like, yes, you're supposed to be Democrats.
Yeah.
Like you're not acting like Democrats.
Remember, this is the
What you're
democracy
yeah.
convention, the
This is the
lowercase
democracy-
d democracy convention.
It's as they talk about at the conventions, the oldest political party in the world, and it
yes.
stands for these great values. So that kind of clashed. But so then Sharon was taken out, and I don't know if we have any of this from the very end of the clip. We might not, but it's in the Substack. It's in the Drop Site article on Substack.
Mac, can we plug Drop Site, please? E2. Put that up there on the screen.
So
continue.
what's what the other cool part is apparently the other person who knew about this ahead of time was Amy Goodman.
Oh,
But
Amy.
Absolute legend.
Yeah.
The GOAT was on the scene.
Uh-huh.
And so she was there with a camera person as well, and so she followed. If you go to the very end of this video, so there he is. This is Sharon. So he was not like dragged out or arrested, and he was able to give an interview with press here, talking about why he felt that it was necessary for him to do this, and he actually said that he is voting for Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
He said to other people.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he
Really?
did. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, is that Amy? Yeah, there she is.
Yeah.
She was actually interviewing him. That's interesting. Oh.
So that was the effort at disruption. And I think watching it, you could barely tell anything happened.
No,
right?
you wouldn't have not.
No.
Any
Oh,
idea.
watching it from where we were. No, absolutely.
You didn't even know,
The
yeah.
media
The
did-
broadcast had
Media
no-
basically pretended like it didn't exist at all.
The broadcast didn't pick it up. It
And
wasn't.
the
you
banner
couldn't
said
hear
"Stop
it.
arming Israel."
You couldn't hear it. The cameras didn't pan to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was really no unless you were on social media and you saw it, you wouldn't have known that it had happened. The other thing we do have, we can put this was all from inside. We can put E4 up on the screen. This is these are some pictures from what happened outside the convention, actually even outside the security perimeter. This is from actually a fan of the show that I met at the protest in Union Park, Dylan Kiley,
Shout
the
out, Dylan.
photojournalist. Yeah, big shout out to Dylan. He put a lot of effort into making sure we could get these up on the screen. And Mac, you can just scroll through, but that first one that you just saw was important because that was a Kamala Harris. It was a sort of cutout of her head that was beside a Netanyahu cutout of his head, which when you're talking to some of these protesters in Union Park outside the convention, they can't get in the security perimeter. These are a lot of locals, types of people that I talked to, at least a lot of locals, a lot of people who had come from neighboring states, Indiana and Michigan. Jewish Voices for Peace were there. There was some Code Pink activists there. One of the things I heard is that we talked about this earlier in the show. If Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are able to reach a ceasefire, a lot of these uncommitted voters might just swing Harris. And there's, that would have to be obviously, it's a huge ask. It's a huge ask. It does put some pressure on the Democratic Party and for all the talk about 1968. I just have to say, expectations of tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, it
One
just didn't
report I
happen.
saw was close to 100,000 expected to descend upon Chicago. And so far, we've seen sort of smatterings of a few thousand. It is not 1968 here in Chicago.
No, it's not even close.
And
At
here's-
least yet. At least yet.
And something else sick is that Netanyahu doesn't necessarily need to agree to a ceasefire to get in good with Kamala Harris. What he could do if he thinks Harris is going to win, and he's trying to position himself for that eventuality, he could just reduce the bombing. And a source told me yesterday the Cyprus landing, which is where an enormous amount of the aid was moving from originally, has just now been completely shut down. So he has ways of torturing and causing great suffering to the million plus Palestinians in Gaza that don't involve bombing schools. So one possibility, if these ceasefire talks fall apart, is that cynically they just hold off on the smashing them to pieces for just a few months. And there are some analysts who are following this now who think that could be Netanyahu's path forward, that he never reaches a ceasefire but has long lulls where the overt violence that we see is reduced for weeks or maybe even months at a time, but people are still displaced. Aid is still unable to get in, so people are dying of treatable diseases, polio's surging, etc. But that makes fewer headlines, and Democrats might say, "Okay, cool, that works for us."
And several people were arrested last night trying to breach the security perimeter.
We were hoping
to be
for our
clear.
own Jan 6 moment, just so we
Yeah,
have some
it's
drama
not
to
happening.
cover.
Although
Ryan and I were like, "Where is it? Let's go!"
The fence does look similar. But so there's a gathering, I think, that's happening at the Israeli consulate in Chicago tonight. Obviously, it's possible that when you have a decent amount of protesters, I mean, thousands of protesters is still a big number of people. Tensions can build throughout the week. So we will see. But one of the things I just wanted to mention here is the sort of logistics that we've panned on behalf of the DNC. I mean, the absolute nightmare that was last night's broadcast, the credentialing, incredible lines for security, worse than the RNC. Although the RNC had some bad ones on its own day one. We'll see what happens DNC day two. Everyone that I talked to who was here to protest had nothing but like positive things to say about how the protests have been handled so far by the city of Chicago. Everyone said they felt safe, felt orderly. So it's kind of an interesting split screen with, I don't know if it's easy, Mac, for you to put up F3, but it's kind of an interesting split screen when you have, for example, reporters saying like, hey, the RNC was way better managed than the DNC. And at the same time, they're at least managing these thousands of protesters, which did not come to the RNC. There were hundreds of, I would say, protesters, maybe a couple thousand at one point on one of the days. But here at the DNC, they're managing these thousands of protesters just fine. And then the actual logistics of the event itself so far have really sucked.
Yeah. All right. Well,
interesting enough.
I totally agree. All right. Let's take a couple of last questions here from the chat, and then we will preview the events tonight.
While you look for a question, let me talk for 1 minute about non-DNC news. Something hilarious that just came out of the Treasury Department this morning. They sanctioned Michel Martelly, the former president of
we're getting a
Haiti, for being a drug trafficker, which everybody believes is true. This is the guy that Hillary Clinton installed completely illegitimately as president of Haiti. He's now being sanctioned as a drug trafficker. That's all funny. The even funnier thing, he's a Florida resident. So the U.S. government believes that he's an international drug trafficker to the point where he needs to be sanctioned.
But he's an American citizen.
Well, he's not a citizen.
Or not a citizen.
But he lives in Florida.
Yeah.
He's just going to hang out in Florida. That's cool. That's just how we're going to do that. Like that is so weird. Like you're sanctioned for being a global narco trafficker, but you can just live in the villages or whatever. Oh, and by the way, there's an election in the villages today.
Yeah.
Oh,
the guy that I've covered.
Been all over
Ryan's
the
beat.
The guy that I've covered, Orrin Miller.
Okay.
Another little bit of non-DNC news. Kamala Harris announced a 28% corporate tax rate yesterday. I guess it's kind of DNC-y news.
What is it now? 25?
No, it's lower. 23.
Trump lowered it to like 20 or something, closer.
It's in the lower 20s.
Yeah.
That's actually going to be a big fight. That'll be interesting.
So we'll see.
Yeah, because all those rates are up.
Can you do your best Trump impression before we
Her
go?
impressions are really good.
Go ahead.
I'm not prepared.
Come on, what do you got?
I'm only good in the moment.
You're right.
Okay, fair enough.
Comrade Kamala.
I get that.
We call her Comrade Kamala.
Yeah.
Nobody ever called her that before I did.
28%. Chairman Xi wouldn't even do 28%.
Couldn't do it. Nobody thought that we could ever have a Comrade Kamala.
There is a nasal quality to it, which is very difficult.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I only started adding that to it because I used to do more of like I'm done. After Gillis started, after Gillis started doing it, it is clear that you have that guttural Comrade Kamala. Nobody ever called her that.
It's about the cadence, nasal.
Yeah,
it's tough.
But it's also about the hands, right? Like you have to be.
The hands are key.
And the best way to learn how to do the best way to learn how to do a Donald Trump impression is to simply watch Charlie Kirk do a Charlie Kirk impression because he has absorbed all of the Trumpian hand gestures. Like, my name's Charlie.
Okay, what else we got? We're not getting a ton of questions here.
We answered pretty much everything.
It's because we've answered everything, isn't
I
that
think
right?
that's 100%.
Okay, well, we'll just we'll go ahead and peace out, everybody.
Well,
So
let's
just-
go over who's speaking tonight.
Oh, right.
Maybe any predictions. I mean, I
apologize.
have a list right here. We've
Obama's.
got Doug Emhoff. We have
riveting.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that tomorrow.
We've got Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth.
Yep.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Could be good.
We're hearing that Chuck Schumer will speak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get the Pritzker stuff. Like, I just don't think he's a good
I think he's fine. I
politician.
think he's a normal
I don't think
dude.
he's
I mean,
good.
he's the governor here. He's got to speak.
I know, but he comes with so much like billionaire baggage. He's not particularly charismatic. He's just
But
kind
he's so big.
He's a big.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah,
He's big.
Big JB.
Yeah, he's just big. Okay. All right. Who else?
I call him
And,
Big JB.
Obama's the last
The
speaker.
night apparently is capping off with both Michelle and Barack.
Okay. That'll be
Double-
interesting.
double-
Maybe we'll get a when they go low, we go high moment again. That's an enduring
Doubtful.
moment. Yeah.
No, they were
Actually,
chanting "Lock him up."
No, that's what I mean. I want to see how she handles that this time around. I don't really remember her 2020 speech at all. I'm not even sure she did one because of COVID. Obama, look, I mean, he's probably the most beloved Democrat in the entire country. So I'm curious to see what he does. Obviously, he's talented. Generally, the way that he handles Trump is definitely a lot more deft than Biden, Hillary ever did. I want to see the message that he tries to push, but I mean, at the same time, he's always been terrible at transferring his own personal popularity. So that'll be difficult. It does appear that tonight will be hosted, emceed by Anna Navarro. So everybody get ready to put a bullet to your head. So that'll be kind of interesting. What else?
Well, so on that point,
Yeah.
how incredibly dumb of them to have Anna Navarro MC. It's playing fight song. She is the human manifestation of fight song. She is a longtime slimy Republican operative, basically, who, when Donald Trump came along, suddenly flipped and became, you know the type, and became just enemy number one of Donald Trump, performatively sanctimonious about the threat of Trump, but in the most boomer possible way on The View when she guest hosts. She's not even like a full-time host of The View. So that is just the lack of self-awareness that it takes to be putting celebrities like Anna Navarro up as your MC is truly a beautiful thing.
Okay. So there you go. That's our preview. Tomorrow we're going to be live. What time tomorrow? Later? Right?
So Crystal will be here tomorrow. Very excited. We'll have the full 4 panel. We'll probably be starting somewhere around like 2 p.m. Central time. 2 p.m. Central time.
Yeah.
Again, we are running a free month trial all week long for unlimited time. Mac, if you can throw it up again. For our premium subscription, you get our entire show an hour early, uncut, in your inbox every morning. And, this is a month trial. So, you can cancel it on the 29th day and not get charged a penny.
Wait, why would you tell me that?
That's
not true.
Because not everyone's
Life hack.
No, people are going to love it so much.
I'm joking.
I think so. Yeah. Try to
Take
get
advantage.
you addicted.
Take advantage. DNC free, breakingpoints.com.
Yep.
This was a lot of fun. It really was. Thank you, Ghost Energy.
Dude, I'm shaking.
Yeah,
I'm literally shaking.
I wonder. I need to rewatch this when I'm like more calm and be like, I wonder if it came off as well as I hoped it. It was a lot of fun to participate in at the very least. So thank you, Ryan, for getting us a live in-studio guest. Thanks to our 2 incredible members here. We've got Mac, producer Mac. Go ahead.
Let's go Matt Cam. We need
Matt Cam.
again.
I love this. We need to get this in our studio.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
It's kind of like Pat McAfee, the Pat McAfee show, and all that, or Jamie.
Or Jamie, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
Jamie.
I love the producer.
It's like
Cam.
Wendy Williams.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm loving this. Maybe we'll try and incorporate it at Breaking Points. But until then, we will see everybody tomorrow. We love you. Thank you all very much, especially to our premium subscribers who enable all of this. We are going to go down to the DNC and see what kind of chaos that we can film and bring to everybody tomorrow. So there we go. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.